I think it's a critically important issue, and it's very timely that we debate this tonight. Tonight, there are tens of thousands of students who are waiting to see whether they're eligible or not for support and funding to attend third-level education. And those who are lucky enough to know whether they're eligible are waiting until 2013 until get their payments paid. Tonight, there are tens of thousands of students who are looking on at this debate and feel totally betrayed by you, Minister. That you, in the knowledge that despite that infamous pledge you made at the gates of Trinity College, you plan to continue to increase fees. And can I ask you here tonight, Minister, to be man enough to stand up and to use this debate as an opportunity to apologise to the third-level students of Ireland for what you blatantly used as a cynical electioneering plot 3 weeks out from the general election in February 2011. You at least owe the students of Ireland an apology for blatant lies. Not alone did the students of Ireland turn out and vote in the majority for the Labour Party, but last night, while I attended a meeting held by the Students' Union in Athlone, it's not a laughing matter. Last night, I attended a meeting held by the students in the Athlone Institute of Technology, and they acknowledged why they voted for you in majority. They also came out and canvassed for the Labour Party. As people were signing up to register for the supplementary register, students were openly advocating that the party to vote for was the Labour Party, because the party that was going to protect student supports, the party that not alone was not going to increase student registration fees, but it was actually going to reverse the previous increase, was the Labour Party. And that's the party they then wished to see in government. They then wished to see in government. I noticed there wasn't too many Labour people in support of the students at the meeting last night. Now, I know, Minister, there are serious difficulties facing funding at third-level sector. In 2011, the registration fees, I'm told, contributed in the region of 100 million, and the Higher Education Authority predicts that we'll need an additional 500 million to ensure that we maintain a first-class education system. And I'm not going to be disingenuous as you were prior to the last election. I acknowledge that, and I acknowledge that you have a difficult job to do. But when we talk about a knowledge economy, we have to be mindful that we have to continue and maintain the level of investment in our educational sector. One of the strong points of the Irish economy is that we have the highest per capita graduate population for people coming out of universities. Over 32% of our population have graduated with third-level qualification. And Minister, I watched Frontline last night and I heard a party colleague of yours refer to you as one of the most reforming Minister of Education of all time. I don't know how reforming a minister you are when your answer to the difficulties facing the funding situation in third level is to increase fees year after year after year. You predicted we'll have fees increase right up to 2015. Entry to third level education should not be based on one's socio-economic status. It should be based on the student's ability and willingness and eagerness to attain a third level education. We have to look at how we can further cut costs, how we can further rationalise our services. But isn't it a very cynical attempt that in the 4 years prior to you becoming Minister for Education, that year after year you said you had an alternative to increasing student fees? Can I remind you, Minister, that you're 20 months in the position, occupying the Minister for Education? If you have that alternative, can you bring it forward and commit and maintain the promises that you made prior to the last general election. One of the other big issues that was raised at the meeting last night was the whole issue in relation to the SUSI. And can I ask, what is the government opinion on SUSI? Because when it was being announced back in June, the Minister welcomed it as a great initiative. The Taoiseach today said it was brilliant. In leaders' questions, it reduced from 66 authorities dealing with the fund applications down to 1. Last night, we had a government TD at the public meeting who felt that there should be a grant officer on every campus in every county throughout the country. And of course, last night at the meeting, it was the previous government's fault, because it was the previous government whose idea was SUSI. So can we have you tonight, Minister, at least acknowledge that it's your responsibility. You launched it in June, and it's your responsibility of the shambles that it is today. Last night, I listened to horrific stories. And I want to point out, I don't wish to blame the staff of SUSI, because it's quite clearly that the office is not adequately staffed. And it's extremely disappointing to have heard from my colleague earlier on that in the whole debacle, you have yet to meet with the staff responsible to administering this scheme. That's quite worrying, Minister, as thousands of pupils wait to get their grant. Only last week, I had a pupil contact my constituency office telling me he was withdrawn from college because he hadn't access to the college facilities, because he hadn't the availability to pay his rent. He wished to withdraw from college. The Taoiseach said today that you had written to the university and the third-level college's head asking them to ensure that the students would retain their access to the facilities. As of last night, Minister, I just want to tell you, in Athlone Institute of Technology, that was not the case. So I'll ask you to bring that up again. As of last night, I spoke to people who are having difficulty with their back education allowance because they cannot bring proof of registration to the local social welfare office. Perhaps you'll talk to your cabinet colleague in this regard.
No, Deputy, you're reading into your...
And as of last night, the unbelievable story where Father Shay Casey, the welfare officer at Athlone Institute of Technology, said they have no money left in their hardship fund this early on. And where he knows of people whose only
inappropriate.
Whose only
naming names in the house.
Whose only food they can eat on a weekly basis is a bag of pasta and a jar of tomato ketchup, because they await their funding and grants to come through. And Minister, I hope that you will take seriously on board the concerns that has been risen on this side of the House, and I've no doubt has been risen by your own backbenchers as well. This is an issue that shouldn't be allowed fester any longer, and I hope in your reply to the House tonight you will be able to give a clear and an unambiguous commitment that this matter will be resolved, and resolved without further delay.